Nerd?
Oh.
Where's my fucking glasses?
Nerd.
Nerd! Right out of my mouth.
Yes. They've got the brains.
Nerdiness. Discuss.
Hey, welcome to episode 73 of Nerd of Mouth. I am one of your co-hosts, Mike Lawrence.
And I'm your other co-host, Jake Young.
And we have a returning guest, one of my favorites, great stand-up comic, John Roy, in the studio with us. Today, we are going to talk all about Big Bad Beetleborg. 30 minutes. No.
When they crossed over with VR Troopers, I
don't
thought
even
it was
know
the greatest
what you guys
moment.
are talking about.
Oh, you don't remember Big Bad Beetleborg?
I think I'm too old. I think that
It was part of the post-Power Rangers.
Yeah, then absolutely. I don't even really
crap.
Even Power Rangers is too like I had similar Japanese shit when I was a kid called Ultraman and Spectre-Man.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I know
But
Ultraman, yeah.
we didn't like. I was in high school when Power Rangers was for the children.
I read about Ultraman in my memory banks.
Well, the best part is that Spectre-Man, that was another similar one. There was a folk song because it's the 70s, so the theme was a folk song about Spectre-Man, and it's like 60s guitar, and they're singing about it. And they were, they worked for World Pollution Control, which doesn't exist. So the whole thing was a heavy-handed environmentalist message, but also the World Pollution Control
The
fought.
answer is always Spectre-Man.
Well, they always fought monsters. Like they were supposed to be, but it would always be like a smog monster, or the global warming. Well, they didn't have that, but it was just always 70s lefty propaganda in the guise of monster fighting.
Yeah, everyone would be against carbon emissions if carbon emissions was a 70-foot tall gorilla lizard.
I really feel like back then their thought was, all right, we got a great theme song. Let's just build something around it.
Spectre-Man. Yeah,
Gigantor is like Gigantor, bigger than Big Strong. It's a terrible show, but God, that theme song is awesome.
I don't remember anything about the Godzilla
Speed
cartoon
Racer
except
also.
they lived on a ship and he had a little guy that was his friend. But I will never forget
Godzuki?
Up from the depths, 30 stories high, breathing fire.
But then they always, whenever they were mentioning the shitty character, they'd be like, and Godzuki,
Yeah, they did put
and don't
and
forget
Godzuki.
Scrappy Doo.
They wouldn't let you forget him. They had to tell you about him.
It was as if the show was trying to move forward. Like, but what about me? Like, no, we don't want you here.
Whenever
anymore.
Poochie's not on camera, the other characters should be going, "Where's Poochie?"
You are a little closer to death than us.
I'm 38. I belong to
wow.
a slightly other nerd universe than you guys do.
That's okay.
The revival of Doctor Who is still strange to me.
Yeah.
The fact that girls like it makes very little sense.
So what stuff did you? What cartoons?
My hardcore nerdism from my youth was Doctor Who. That was my entry to geekery was definitely. I went to a Doctor Who convention when I was 8,
Wow.
and when it was really pretty on the low end of the fandom, And then I loved my comics. I was a superhero comic guy, and then Star Wars and GI Joe is kind of a given to anyone.
Did you see Star Wars in the theaters when it came out?
I saw the first Star Wars movie I saw was one of the first movies I ever saw. Like I think I saw Pinocchio before that. I cried through. I was a terrified little bitch during Star Wars, so I cannot tell you. I was a 3-year-old kid, and my parents were like, no, you're going to stay here, hide your eyes if you can't handle Darth Vader, because we just waited in the line for longer than to get Super Bowl tickets. So,
Yeah, because it's the 35-year anniversary, so you were 3.
Yeah.
Oh, but it was out for a long time, so it might have been, yeah.
No, it was. We saw it in '77. I was 3. I was born in '74.
That's something that's missing a lot because now he's on Pepsi cans, he's on Disney World commercials. Like it's just a merchandise
Darth
empire.
Vader.
But that initial image of
Still
chokes
looks
a
like a
man to
penis. Still looks like a big dick.
He chokes a man to death. This is why the Avengers is a piece of shit.
Let's get into it.
Look, this is what you need in a movie.
Agent Coulson was a wonderful man, and I miss him.
Here's what you need in a movie. You need to show the bad guy being really, really bad so that we want to stop him. And Star Wars does that the best. First, he chokes a man to death in the first scene. Then they blow up a whole fucking planet. So then you're like, yeah, these guys are bad. They're really bad, and we got to kill them. What did Loki do? He made a bad speech. He let some people that weren't really that challenging into New York. He's not that bad. I never really gave a fuck whether the Avengers
If 9/11 taught us anything, it's that when buildings blow up, nobody gets hurt. They just can't show it, but
name all the good movies and that are action movies, and it's all. I guarantee you, Die Hard, right? What do we remember? He shoots Victor Takagi in the head for no fucking reason. The villain has to be a bad guy.
I will agree that the Marvel villains have in the movies have not been as good,
except for Jeff Bridges. He was great. Jeff Bridges and Iron Man 1.
Baldy's got to support each other.
I'm just saying, he pulls Tony's heart out of his chest while he has a cigar and whispers sweet nothing. That's a good villain.
Yeah.
Can you find the Spectre Man theme song on there? Yes, you guys got to hear that. It's the most ridiculous thing.
I had actually already found it.
Okay.
Was it Spectre-Man or Ultraman?
Spectre-Man. Ultraman started with "Witness the power of evil." That's all I remember. Some witch says that at the beginning of Ultraman.
That was actually the beginning of Romney's concession speech. And then he just shot a Japanese man in the head for no reason.
Is this it?
Yeah, that's it. There we go. That guitar.
Oh God, this looks horrible. Looks like he fought a lot of gorillas.
His main enemy was a gorilla named. Hold on. Oh, okay. Oh, he's got a secret identity. See, they get a lot of info in the beginning. Well, that's pretty much it. It becomes kind of a disco freak out with the violin.
It becomes more and more an entire advertisement from Spectre Man, available for booking. Spectre Man, at your bar mitzvah.
It really does that kind of song. Just sort of
you play a little bit of the Gigantor theme. You remember the Gigantor theme?
I don't know if I do.
Oh, it's amazing.
I submit that the ultimate, so much so that it's not even. Speed Racer is the single greatest awesome theme song to bad TV show balance.
Why, if it's a sleek race car, why is there a trunk at all for the kid to stow away? Why do you have a trunk? And wouldn't the pit crew check the trunk?
Why are they Japanese but Pops is Italian?
I also like how they had a race on the desert once that was literally in the cars were driving on sand. There wasn't even a track. It was just this cheap animated desert with cars going over it, kind of.
Here is the Gigantor theme song.
Oh, yeah. They all have that. Sing this the next time you get an erection.
It sounds like a jungle song.
Yeah.
It sounds like something we made the Native Americans sing about us.
Are you sure this isn't an ad for a restaurant that had a mean margarita that the Mad Men went to in 1965?
This song is what like a confident fat guy sings about himself.
I wonder too if
it's not like it is.
I wonder if these guys too, these musicians that wrote stuff like Spectre Man, they were trying to be in a band that was going to be the new Pink Floyd or whatever, and it just didn't work out. So now they got to write these cartoon robot songs. Man.
You wouldn't believe that it was all written by one guy named Joey Cassio.
Hey, I'm the king of Kid Rock. Let's do this. I'm the king of children's psychedelic rock.
Yeah.
You got to think about a Japanese robot. I'll write a snappy tune for it.
We're importing this cartoon from Japan. It's a big risk. We got to get the kids. What do the kids like?
They like rock and roll.
Conga music.
I bet the best conga guy used to play for Tito Puente. I met him at Trader Vic's. We can get him.
Modern Stone Age family. It's great because it doesn't make sense.
There's a town I know where the hipsters go. It's Bedrock. Twitch. That was the fake rock and roll song by the Wayouts. In the Flintstones. They were a band of space people.
And then in the cartoon, it was in the live action, it was the BC-52s. The Twitch, Bedrock Twitch.
Oh, they did that? Oh,
yeah, the
man.
BC-52s.
The B-52s to me, I can just think of some producer okay, this is the way it's going to go. You two are going to sing, and you just be gay. However, whatever that means to you, I don't want to get into your process.
Yeah.
however you want to interpret that, but you just
it's really the same as being Mr. Fantastic. All right, you just stay invisible, you stay hardy and strong, and you just flame on for this whole thing.
What's Johnny Storm? Does anyone like Is anyone like a Johnny Storm fan? Like that's their favorite superhero?
He was the best part of the movies, the terrible movies.
He was.
The best part of the movies, the end credits.
Yeah.
I like it when he hangs out with Spider-Man. That's always fun.
Yeah, no,
That's
I mean, no, he
Spider-Man's
was. I mean, back in the early '60s when all the Marvel heroes were coming out,
when they were all coming out, all.
You're what? My molecules aren't the only thing unstable about me.
They're all pretty out now, I think.
No, but but when all those books, Marvel had a distribution deal with DC where they were only allowed to release 8 books at a time, so they barely, they were such a premium for space, and at the same time they had a Human Torch solo book in Strange Tales. He was one of the stories, so he was hugely popular when he was
with that whole Flash Thompson-y teenager thing of like, hey Richards, I'm gonna go out cruising in my GTO and some, he's such a Beach Boys song.
Yeah, but but that's when the Beach Boys were popular, and that Funicello and all of that. Yeah. He fit into that. He drove the sports car.
Jack, the kids like the Annette Funicello. We gotta get a guy like he's like a niece or a nephew.
Yeah, but I mean, but Johnny Storm is who you wanted to be, and Peter Parker.
But they make Johnny Storm a dummy pants. They don't make him a cool, like, you don't want it. You want it, like, they didn't make him what you're talking. He's always a little dumber than that guy ought to be.
You almost have to be a dummy pants to hear the following question. Do you want to go on a spaceship with
my sister,
my older boy,
her weird semi-boyfriend?
Sue asking with my way older boyfriend, who could be our father, and this Jew. You want to go?
But don't worry, the Jew gets punished. He turns into a lumpy person, and all the wasps, they look great.
But the trusted Jew back in 1961. Was a very
you to take a Jew to space.
Yeah. I love when you see
that's what the Jews get for going to space. They look like an orange pile of bricks.
When you see the Thing and the Mole Man in the same panel, like that's every Jewish stereotype. It
was written by 2 Jewish guys.
Yeah, I know, but they're self-hating.
They also say that they would have made Peter Parker Jewish if they felt the times would allow it. That in Stanley's head, Peter Parker was always a Jewish kid in Queens. Like he said, we weren't able to say that because of the anti-Semitism.
And that's why it didn't say, written by Stanley Lieber and drawn by Jacob Kurtzberg.
Yeah, that's true. It didn't. They had Hollywood names.
No, what's it? So Peter Parker, Outcast, The Thing, Grotesque. And what do they imagine waspy people to be? Just blonde weirdos with who can just be movie stars.
Well, I guess it's like in Japanese cartoons when the highest point of power for a Dragon Ball Super Saiyan is to become a blonde man.
Yeah, with blue eyes.
That's like the height of awesomeness is to not be Asian anymore. It's pretty weird and racially questionable.
Yeah, I think, but I definitely would say, Johnny Storm not as popular now, but all of the stuff that he represents isn't popular anymore. He is more of an anachronism. But back then, he was.
It's always weird when they try to take the guy who was the teen subculture of that era and roughly translate him. Now he's into dubstep, bro. They try to make whoever the snapper car guy is now has to be like.
But back
he's
then,
an emo guy, and he's
Well, Rick Jones, he. Back in the early 60s, he ran a ham radio group, and then in the 70s, he was a musician, and had long hair and stuff.
Wasn't he a musician, and doesn't he have a guitar, and he's playing harmonica?
He might,
when he goes to save him? Isn't he kind of a folky guy?
No, he's hanging out in the Jeep. All stretched out with his hands behind us.
Was that?
Boy, this sure is the sweet life.
Hanging out here in Arizona in the middle of nowhere on a military.
Was that in the original?
It doesn't get any better than this.
But was that in the original 1962? Him with the harmonica, and because I think that might have been.
Here's what I don't remember. I had a group of weird reprints called the Marvel Saga that came out in the late 80s, and they basically just reprinted all that old stuff with a couple. And in the Marvel Saga, they had a picture of him with the harmonica, but I don't remember if that was something they jammed in there, or if that's in the original Hulk issue.
In the early 60s,
don't mind me,
all
I'm
men just had harmonicas.
Yeah, don't mind me. I'm just gonna play music near this.
What do you carry? I carry a C harp wherever I go. Where do you go? I got the G harp. Oh, you're a G harp guy.
But you know what's even better about it was that he was playing music right near a nuclear research facility, and he wasn't a protester.
Well, he did it on a dare.
The commie.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why?
Yeah.
Hey, Jones, you want to prove you're a real man? Why don't you drive over to the military installation and play a guitar? That's okay, man. I'll do it. You think I'm chicken? I'm not.
Yeah.
How many roads must a man...
Look out, young boy.
How many Hulks must a man become?
That's just a perpetual thing. You always sell what kids think teenagers are back to them just to make extra
and
money.
you're 50.
Yeah,
that's why I think Glee is the ultimate thing from the older generation. We're gonna shove you these songs from 1975, but we're gonna make cool kids sing them, so I'll sell them back to you. You little
Hold
shits.
your tongue.
This is ELO. This is what you should like. It's like some old guy
they have not
force-feeding Journey to children.
They have not
gross.
sung ELO on that show. I've watched every episode.
But don't you feel like Glee is like a thing of the older generation repackaging Meatloaf and Journey and bullshit and trying to make it seem cool again so kids will buy it?
Well, what I truly believe, and this has happened with the show, is that Ryan Murphy gets into something for a little while and then totally gives up on it. He's a shitty dad because the first 2 or 3 seasons of Glee really were great, and there was a vision and an aesthetic behind it.
But isn't the vision kids buying old Queen records again so we can all make money? Isn't that the vision behind it? I own the publishing for fucking Staying Alive.
Yeah,
so
but one of them's also gay.
Yeah, but that's how they get the kids to think Staying Alive is cool again. Let's have Obama talk about Jay-Z. Then we'll sell that old guy's old records.
No, they just did a Spectre-Man episode. Really? Where?
I don't know. I just feel like the older generation is one if a 17-year-old thinks it's cool to get Sweet Caroline because they told him to on Glee.
Yeah, but
that is a victory of crass commercialism.
But things always revert. I mean, look at all the sampling. Would you say any different that all of the rap songs that incorporate?
No, I wouldn't.
It's also just an emptiness of ideas.
Well, think about Marvel and DC, to go back to comic books. How many times have we got to watch the fucking origin? How many times are you going to redo the... We get it. The thing... That's why I liked in All-Star Superman, Grant Morrison was like, you get it, right? It's one page.
Yeah.
And then we don't have to go back to Jor-El talking to the council again. I don't need to see Peter Parker look at the fucking spider anymore,
Yeah.
And they're doing it in the movies. They're already recycling the origins in the movies.
Yeah.
We're going to have to watch Russell Crowe talk to the council now.
How great would it have been to just see, Uncle Ben in this new Spider-Man movie? I'm going to go off and die so you can learn something about yourself. See you later.
You need an epiphany, you little shit. I'm gonna go get killed.
Because they elongated the origin even further in this one. They had a voicemail, and they gave Uncle Ben more of a reason to be killed.
I didn't see the new one.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike has an odd compulsion to see these shitty movies just because they have the Marvel name on them.
It's called this podcast.
It goes back farther than that. I mean, I saw Elektra on opening weekend on my birthday after getting dumped by a girl that I was with for 5 years. So it goes farther back.
Elektra.
Yeah. I saw
is
it in
what
the
he talks about more than that girl.
Yeah. well, I understand why one of them hurt me.
You have one bit about that girl. You have 5 bits about Elektra.
You can sit through a bad movie then. You can just see a bad movie. You can sit down in the theater having just I am about to see a bad movie.
My eyes are made out of the blob skin. Because
if I see, I get mad if there's a thing that I did not see the G.I. Joe movie, and I never will, because I watched the preview, and here's the thing I used to think was cool. Now it's clearly being ruined, so I'm not going to subject myself.
You know why? You know why I do? Still I look to find a reason to believe.
But these people aren't going to give it to you. You can tell from the preview of it.
But they have sometimes,
When is the stealth? What's the Trojan horse where you thought it was going to suck and you're like, that was a good movie?
You know what? And this is going to sound shocking. I was not a big Batman Begins guy, so I thought that
I liked Batman.
I thought that The Dark Knight was going to be good. I didn't think it was going to be that.
That's cool. I also would like to apologize for my misuse of the Trojan horse. The Trojan horse is full of bad things. It's not secretly full of good things.
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't soldiers. They left some baked goods. I mean, like,
but that in itself, you know what? But that actually is a great question too, because most of the ones that are bad, you kind of did see coming, like. But at the same time, I would be in denial about it, up until I saw it. Like, Fantastic Four, it is one of my favorite comic books, and I do have such an affinity for that. But I knew. Like, there was no way. I watched the E behind the scenes. Yeah. I mean, the Thing costume, enough said. But there were all the signs. But you know what? It's like, I still had to go. I mean, what am I going to do?
This is going to sound weird, but
why did you have to go? See, that's what I'm trying to get.
For someone comes up to you in the street for like a matinee ticket, $7. Someone says, hey, how would you like to see something you love be weirdly ruined in $100 million spectacle, like out of morbid curiosity?
Would you go see what's your favorite band? You just or one of them.
Ben Folds.
Okay, would you see a weird bad Ben Folds cover band just mutilating all of your favorite Ben Folds?
Yeah, it's called something corporate.
You know what I'm trying to say? Why would you want to see a bad version?
Morbid human curiosity, just the fact that it's because it still relates.
I love Pearl Jam, and if someone goes, "This band plays Pearl Jam so badly, please come watch." No,
because you're gonna feel something.
What, anger at the guy for ruining
anything?
But you want to know, because we were talking about this earlier.
Also, you were talking about Creed just then.
Yeah.
Oh, the bad.
We were talking about this earlier in the episode.
No, you're right, you have a point.
But you said that nerds want to just feel like when they're young again and all of that.
I said specifically Alex Ross wants to feel.
We were talking about that.
I didn't say. I didn't want this to think that I'm like nerds are this. Like, that's not what I mean.
They do, and you know what? It even goes to hatred. Like, I want if I go see Fantastic Four, I want to hate it with the same hate I had for the Mario Brothers movie. I want to fucking despise that.
You watched the Mario Brothers?
Yeah.
We were kids.
Why would you watch? Oh yeah, you guys were younger than me. Okay, I'm looking at it from the point of view of a 19-year-old at the time, going, they made a movie of that game.
And I would have seen it. Yeah, but dude, I would have seen it then. It's fucking Mario.
I don't. What do you owe yourself? 2 shitty hours spent watching a movie about a turtle?
Why do Jews go to the wall? It fortifies you.
Points and match.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why do we the whole never forget? Why do we remind ourselves of that pain and torture? Because it fortifies you and it
final
makes you
solution
stronger.
And
that's.
Are you surprised?
Now, I just feel like
it is no different to see Schindler's List than to say one for Green Lantern, please. That's my heritage.
As I feel like most nerd people are kind of creative people. They want to make something, they want to tell stories, they want to draw, they want to do something. And watching Green Lantern and all of its horrendous mistakes was just as educational as watching Avengers.
I'd rather just like something. Well, they had a lot of horrendous mistakes.
Dude, I broke down crying when the first Spider-Man movie came out because it was so bad to me.
I don't understand.
It destroyed me.
Why would that make you cry?
It was one of the worst moments of my childhood.
Because look, I love nerdy things. I've been a nerdy guy all my life.
I'm going to start crying now.
But what I don't understand is
childhood. We were like 19 when that came out.
I'm still in my childhood.
I just feel like if I know it's going to be bad, I don't want to watch it because why? I'm just watching bad versions of something that I enjoy. Yeah. Then it won't. I turned Fantastic Four off. I did not see it in the theater. I did see 20 minutes of it on DVD, and the minute the Human Torch made some cracky "get hot in here" type of pun, I was like, I'm done, man. I can't. So I have no idea what the hell happens in the rest.
To me, being a nerd, and this is something that is a through line. At least my contribution to this show, being a nerd is that pain. We could have done shit that made us get picked on less if we wanted to. We could have, realized that our parents' divorce was our fault and been okay with it.
What does that have to do with liking nerdy
Because it's
things?
all pain-based,
No, it isn't. It's pleasure-based. This is what I think. I disagree with you. I feel like being a nerd.
You also walked out of Fantastic Four, so you can't.
What I'm saying though is
that's
I think
why you say it's pleasure-based.
being a nerd is. You're not going to... Okay, look.
But there's suffering.
Can I just please get my point out?
Sorry.
Okay, now I'm not going to say there's not some jockey people that like nerdy things. I know that's true. But as a kid, you couldn't feel pleasure playing sports because you weren't any good at it. And you weren't having pleasure in school because they were forcing you to be the super smart kid and do all your homework. That wasn't fun. So you found the funnest things that you could think of, which were these fantasy pursuits, because these other avenues of fun were cut off to you. So it was like, but where can I find fun? And that's why nerd culture is catching on to everyone right now, is because it was fun. It was fun to play D&D. It was the most fun you could have not being an athlete. Like, you found the alternative culture that was open to you. And I don't think it wasn't because, oh my God, they won't let me play sports. It was like, well, I can't. It's not fun to lose every time in baseball.
And with that
but
said,
I'll go play these games.
Holy shit, I think I just figured out the obesity epidemic.
And with that said, and I agree with that, then when the Dungeons and Dragons movie comes out, you're like, maybe there will be a movie that captures that experience. And then you go,
no,
fucking Marlon Wayans.
You'll know it won't happen. That's what I'm like. You know it won't capture it. There's no way it will. Game of Thrones comes the closest to capturing what it was like to be a fantasy geek. That's the first thing I've ever seen. Well, in the Lord of the Rings movies, where I was like, yeah, that's it. But that's the highest version of it ever, and that's the only way it's going to be good. Is if it's the best version of that.
But Game of Thrones is the Wright brothers. And Dungeons and Dragons, the movie, is the guy who just tied
made the
two maps to him.
Failed.
Yeah.
The guy that fell in the river.
But you needed those guys. Those dudes were important.
True. It's true. The Beastmaster and Kroll are the guy with the bicycle plane.
Mike, it's weird that you drew that comparison because both those guys were Jeremy Irons.
They watch me fly. They sent a lot of fucking monkeys into space. But there were a lot of tank girls in space before there was an Avengers.
There's a lot of Howard the Ducks before the Fifth Element.
And you know what? I didn't
bonsai.
Ooh, I never forget.
Hey,
but you know what? I grew up on Howard the Duck. I saw that when I was 5, and it wasn't the worst thing back then, and I can still watch it now. I have an emotion. I have more of an emotional attachment to Batman and Robin than I do the 1989 Batman.
I didn't see Batman and Robin. Well, how can I see it? It looks so bad.
I went to go see it with my stepdad, who is the Batman and Robin of stepdads, and I went to go see it with my stepdad.
Were there two
and it
better
was so,
stepdads before him?
No, he means homosexual.
But here's the amazing thing. Yeah,
he had nipples on the stepdad outfit.
He just kept zooming in on my butt. He put his hand in my ass, which he called bat credit carding. But this is a real story from my childhood. It was sold out, the screen that we went to see. So we went home, bought tickets for screening 2 hours later, and came back to see it.
Wow.
And
no matter what you went to, he still said freeze. Like, he still did it. It still happened.
Even
delayed it by 2 hours.
And I knew
still had to hear freeze.
And I knew that it was bad, but you know what? That movie is so fucking entertaining.
Why?
Because why was the 1960s show entertaining?
It's not now.
It is, Egghead. Yeah, it is.
No, it isn't.
It's fun.
Okay, I don't know. I just feel like.
Because you know what? On the other hand, as much as I like the one Nolan film out of 3, and those movies hold up, but they're not the most fun thing in the world. Like, you know what?
Nothing is.
And it is all.
There's nothing that's the most fun thing in the world.
Roller coaster blowjobs.
And I can't tell you why, but if you put a gun in my head, I would rather watch the Mortal Kombat movie again than Lord of the Rings.
Horrible.
But to me, Lord of the Rings is horrible. It's just boring.
But you just don't like it. What I'm saying is, I can't watch something, and this isn't just nerd stuff. I can't watch the stuff that's so bad it's good. Like, you have to watch Troll 2. No, I don't. Why don't I watch a good movie or do something else?
Troll 2 is fucking amazing.
But you see what I mean? That there's certain people that can take something that's ineptly produced and enjoy the shit out of that. I am not one of those people.
Well, then we're not having an argument. We're just very much stating preferences. But there's a certain.
Isn't that what an argument is? Like what? Like,
but there's no like if we.
Mitt Romney had a preference to not have social spending. Like, isn't that
but if it boils down to
just there's the thing in our brains and that just gives you that endorphin rush when watching like The Room or
I don't have that.
Never.
Yeah, but if the one guy said I do not like green eggs and ham, and the other guy said that's fine, that's your preference, you wouldn't have a fucking book. You need that sometimes.
True.
So what
you have to watch Batman and Robin though? Holy crap!
Really? Well, okay. So what do you think are the superhero or geek genre movies that you do feel, they make you happy? Like, if it isn't like you watching this thing you like, all over.
I mean, there are scenes of the Avengers that I will say are boring to me, and it's a lot of setup. But that whole fight scene and Captain America leading people, that to me was the moment in my somewhat adulthood where it's like in the movie Ratatouille at the end when the asshole critic bites into the Ratatouille. That movie, and that is why I see those movies, and that did it for me. That was one of them. Guys, I even hate a lot of the ones that people like. Like I said, like the Spider-Man movies and the X-Men movies. They don't capture the mythos at all to me.
I feel Christopher Reeve crunching Terrence Stamp's knuckles is still the best moment of capturing what it is about a superhero story that emotionally connects with you. It's that moment where it's all over, and then it flips, and the hope kind of shines. And then when he kneel before Zod and he crunches the knuckles and the John Williams theme starts in again, that's the boner moment that every superhero movie has to go for. And I think Iron Man 1 gets close when Tony crawls across the floor, like, to get the other, arc reactor, and you just need that moment of resurrection. When, I think as much as you want to shit on Mark Millar, Ultimates 2 does it about as good as anybody. The big fat reversal where Hawkeye's doomed, Captain America's doomed, Natasha's got the gun against his head, and it's like, oh, Natasha, so sorry. And you're like, huh? Wait. Oh, the good guys are back,
Not only are they back, but they were never technically out.
Yeah, right. That Hawkeye kills the guy with his fingernails.
They were always in control. It was you who lost faith in them. That's always such a good moment.
Actually, you may have it. It's not just the rise and fall. It's the we never were out anyway.
I think what Iron Man did, which was such a rare thing, was it made it cooler than it actually is. Tony Stark was never that cool.
No, Robert Downey added something that was never on the page.
Yeah.
Mark Millar, I feel like, had a little bit of that in the Ultimates.
I always read him British, though, the Ultimate Tony. Just something about his speech mannerisms, you could just tell a Scotsman was writing it. Like that, just an American guy like that wouldn't be like, well, darlings, we're off to,
Which is weird. I always read Sherlock Holmes as American. And then Robert Downey.
I think Ultimate
and
Captain...
so did Robert Downey. He also read Sherlock
I think
Holmes
Ultimate Captain America is the best Captain America.
From what, the series Ultimate Captain America?
No, just from Ultimates.
Oh, you mean the Captain America from Ultimates?
Yeah, just make him a fucking racist granddad.
They didn't make him racist.
My Sinatra record.
He banged the wasp, didn't he?
Yeah, he's kind of,
No, he was like the altruistic, not racist grandpa, but he'll still say Negro.
He's 40s, the whole
no, I liked the way they did Cap, and when he told Hank Pym to change size before we told Hank Pym to change size before he hit him. I thought it was an unfair fight.
That to me is one of the best scenes.
Parachutes are for girls.
That is one of the best fucking fight scenes ever. When he beats the shit out of Chris Brown.
The two nerd boner moments. The two nerd boner moments I remember from my childhood, and it shows how old I am, but the two greatest moments in reading comics at a prepubescent age, when you're still full of wonder or whatever, they're cheesy as shit, but Secret Wars, when James Rhodes is underneath the armor, right, and the armor shorts out or whatever, so Mr. Fantastic's repairing it, so he's got the arm off
While Hulk
the
is
suit.
holding it up.
Yeah, he's got the arm off the suit, though, so you can see James Rhodes' black skin underneath the armor, and James goes, is it weird for you, seeing a black man under this armor? And Mr. Fantastic goes, I always knew there was a man under that armor. Yeah. And you were like, yeah, he doesn't see color. He's Mr. Fantastic. Then the other one was, I think, a Frank Miller Daredevil.
Which would have been so much worse if he was like, I have a friend named T'Chaka.
What if he was like, oh, you're black? And then he just stops repairing the armor. But
Hulk apologized for friend.
Friend is racist. Can't see everyone's
The
color.
thing is, like, I'm colored, but it's different.
And it's your fault. It's your fault I'm orange.
Yeah.
The other one was Matt Murdock had... the Daredevil had busted some two-bit thug, just some, purse stealer or whatever. That guy's in court, and there's no lawyer for him, and he's about to just get ground under the heel of the judicial system, and they're like, well, if your attorney is not appointed and you can't afford one, and right at that moment, Matt Murdock for the defense, Your Honor, and you're like, oh, he's his lawyer. Like, I mean, he does care about justice. He's not just a 1% fascist.
I'll pick two moments, and I think it's a good way for us to end.
Okay.
One from comic books and one from cartoons, but like that just fan for life. One was reading Spider-Man issue 23, Adjectiveless Spider-Man, Eric Larson, Revenge of the Sinister Six. It was the last issue, had a gatefold cover, and which was the style at the time.
That was a full cover, which was the style at the time.
And it had all of these different heroes on it. It had the Fantastic Four and like a lot of 90s guys like Sleepwalker and Solo and Nova and it was just so, and it was fighting the Sinister Six. There's like a 2-page spread of Doc Ock with the arms, and Sandman has been turned to glass, and then he breaks himself so that he's just broken pieces of glass that he shoots at Dr. Octopus.
Why is Sandman fighting Dr. Octopus?
Because Dr. Octopus turned him into glass. Because Dr. Octopus, in order to coax Sandman into joining the Sinister, this is when he was in his kind of good guy phase.
Okay, I missed a lot of that.
Which was the first arc that really grew. Sandman was one of the characters that made me love comic books.
Okay, so what's the moment?
Was it was that issue, and it was one of my friends, and I went that week. I went to like,
is that the one where Spider-Man wins?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to 4 different, against all odds, I went to 4 different comic shops to get the first 5 issues of it, and that was like the first time I put together a whole arc by myself.
Okay.
And read it from, even though I'd read the finale already, I had to see how this begins, and hooked.
What's the moment though? What does Spider-Man do that made you go, yes, this is the coolest moment?
I think the moment was him being friendly with Sandman at the end. He reverts him to Sand, and I'm like, what? But he's friendly with one of his villains? Because Doc Ock, in order to get Sandman into the Sinister Six, killed his the family he was staying with, the Quesadas, not Quesada, but the Quesadas, K-A, which I guess is foreshadowing.
Again, though, just like the moments I said,
but there were human relationships.
Yeah, it's the morality too of the character, that he did something selfless and good, even though he's super powerful.
It was that, and it was it was a lot. Larson was great at splash pages.
Okay,
it was a lot of the. It was so awesome, and I had some of the cards, the comic book cards, but to see them actually doing stuff it blew my mind. And then the other moment is, I could just say Batman the Animated Series, but specifically,
you gotta have
I remember it was the first week that it was on Feet of Clay Part 2, when Clayface is transforming into all of the different actors.
I remember that.
And just morphing, and that was the fucking most amazing thing.
Is that because of just the idea of it, or what? Were you sympathetic to Clayface?
I was, to an extent. I didn't even see Part 1. Like, it was just, but it just grabbed me.
You got one?
Both are. There should be a Marvel moment in there somewhere. Ultimates 2 is up there, but when Superman, an All-Star Superman, finally defeats Lex Luthor just by giving him his powers.
I just reread that,
and
it's so good
because Lex Luthor all of a sudden has supervision and super senses and just can't be evil. Like, if you're just that aware of the universe.
He sees the universe, how it all connects, and he knows that being good is the only option.
Yeah. And that's such like a good, like, they were never out moment. Like, just.
And then there's that also moment where when Luthor goes, I could have saved the world, and if it weren't for you. And Superman goes, you could have saved the world years ago if that's something that you cared about.
Also, JLU, when the Flash like starts running around the world a million times to beat up Brainiac Luthor.
Took you a long time to get found. Those are like from 3 years ago.
I just recently emerged from a fetal state.
I liked in JLU when Superman is basically saying, yes, we overstepped our bounds. We built a space cannon. We're a bunch of assholes. We're going to disband the Justice League. And he's got all the people of Washington in front of him or whatever. And then Green Arrow from the back goes, no, you're not. He goes, we need the Justice League. And the Justice League needs Superman. And everyone's like, yeah. And then the old Big Blue is humbled. And he goes, well, yes, I think I will need to, and you're like, yeah, come on.
And it would have worked so much better if you didn't realize, oh, wait, that's just the woman who voices Black Canary. And that's Phil Lamar, and that's the problem with that show. But it's a great show.
Really? You saw through the thing and heard the voices?
Anytime they did like crowd scenes in that show.
Oh, you could. So that never bothered.
Yeah, I've watched them so much.
Now it's gonna ruin it.
It will. It will. Yeah.
Really? Oh no.
Yeah.
So when the cop is clearly also Wally, that's not gonna help.
Well, that's the whole. Like, I think that's like a voice actor, like a SAG thing. You could do up to 3 different characters without getting paid extra.
So they're like, you're Superman and you're also Perry White and you're Jimmy.
Yeah. You're Superman and Lex Luthor, so go fight yourself. Yeah.
Super producer Marcus Parks, you've been listening to this conversation. You can't not have a moment in mind.
I don't know. About the only moment, I mean, it's not really...
It's when they were banging on that pickup truck in Preacher.
It could be video games or whatever.
It was... it kind of was from Preachers when he chokes the life out of Jody. Yeah. When he's... it's the guy that's been tormenting him his entire life and has been destroying his life. And he had finally gotten away from this horrible place that he had grown up. And Jody brought him back. And he was just an evil incarnate motherfucker. And, Jesse Custer has this superpower that he can use in which he can tell anybody to do anything and they have to obey. Right. And he refuses to use it against this guy because he wants to beat him to death. And there's a part where he's where Jody's got his hand behind Jesse's hand behind his back and he's breaking his arm and he's like, say uncle, and it was like kind of a callback to something that had happened in his childhood. And instead of saying uncle, he bites into his forearm and rips a huge chunk of flesh out.
Good old Garth Ennis.
Yeah. Kicks him in the face, grabs his arm, breaks his back, and then chokes the life out of him while screaming, "Fucking die!"
Can you imagine being Ennis's editor and going, "Is this something you want to talk about, Garth? I mean, I got your pages and it's quite violent. I mean, is everything all right in the home?"
For anyone in our audience, whether you're like young or old or you haven't read Preacher and you're like, "Oh, that sounds vile," it's fucking poetry. That moment is so earned.
It's easier if you just read Arse Face has Ass Face.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, that's a good moment.
Yeah, that like I was like I think I was 14 or 15 when I read that, and having been like hardcore bullied.
Really? I was never bullied that bad.
And also and just trying to get out of like a fucking shitty small town
in Texas.
In Texas. I don't know, that book. I mean, I've said it a million times that book just spoke to me on a billion different levels.
No, but
I still love it. I still love it to this day. I've read Preacher every year, the entire thing through every year for I think 10, 12 years.
Wow.
Like weird ever since it ended in 2001.
If I had something like that, Starman's probably the thing that most spoke to me about because I was like, okay,
because you ran a I ran
a junk shop and I used to dress like a fan of Spiritualized. I had a long leather duster I was quite fond of. It was the father son stuff that he was he wasn't like his dad, and my dad was also kind of a distant guy who drank too much, but like aside from that we weren't similar He was an academic. He was introverted. I was not like that at all. So the idea of young Jack White or Jack Knight fighting for acceptance from his father, who didn't really know what to do with him, I thought that Robinson did that very well. And I feel like it had to be, Robinson's gay, right? Like, I think it's probably a subtext for, him coming out. I'm not sure about that, but you just see if he's a gay guy with a straight dad. I mean, I'm making all this up, but
I don't think Robinson is gay, but Cry for Justice was super gay.
Well, Robinson's Twitter feed says power bottom on it. I don't know why you'd throw that in there just for kicks.
I remember the first time that I read Watchmen. I was friends with this guy, and his brother literally looked and acted just like Francis from Pee-wee. He'd be like,
really?
He'd be like, "You guys have to leave now. Iron Chef is on." It's Jared, but no, but like of that type. Yeah, he would.
If
watch
your worst bully was Jared Logan, you had a pretty easy childhood.
No, he wasn't a bully, but he wasn't a bully. But then, I was in high school at the time, 17, and he asked me if I had ever read Watchmen before, and I read Wizard a lot, so I would sometimes see it mentioned in there.
Garib Sheamus and Wizard. I like pie. look at the
You can't insult Wizard with the names of staff members. You still lose.
Hey, they hired them all.
But I remember I read that, and that blew my fucking mind. And then I let my girlfriend at the time read it, and she loved it so much. This was the Electra Girl, and we made that April we made Watchmen Easter eggs.
Okay, who win? Is Watchmen? Is it a happy ending or a sad ending? Are you okay with what Ozymandias did, or do you feel that Rorschach's right and you have to blow it all up because it's built on lies?
Ketchup stain.
And on that note, we actually have to get out of here. But thank you so much for listening. Crackles and all, we're going to get this thing settled, people.
I think I haven't figured out.
Oh,
John, you want to plug anything?
Yeah. Well, basically everything goes through my Twitter feed, which is John Roy Comic. So that'll tell you everything. I'm going to be in the Comedy Attic in Bloomington this week. And aside from that, just go on John Roy Comic and you'll hear about whatever I'm doing.
I'm going to be opening for John Oliver this Friday at the Terrytown Music Hall. So that's 40 minutes from New York. Just a train ride over, so if you want to come out to that, that'd be great. Jake?
Any of our fans in the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, where Mike and I are actually going to be at Towson University at TigerCon, Towson University's local convention.
TigerCon, the first con dedicated to LCD video games.
I will have more info at that. Check our Twitter feeds. Mine is at BestJakeYoung, and that's all I got.
Oh, and read Hawkeye if you're not, and you're out there and you want an awesome comic, read Hawkeye. Get them all. It's great.
Been looking for a new superhero book.
Really good. Yeah. Hawkeye's about as good as it gets.
All right. Sweet. Thanks.